You ever read something that feels like it crawled straight out of a dream and onto the page? Not just strange, but beautifully strange. That's what reading Neil Gaiman is like. He writes for the outsiders, the dreamers, the weirdos who walk between worlds, and somehow he makes you feel like you belong there. Today we're diving deep into the stories, themes, and imagination of Neil Gaiman, the man who brought us Coraline, the Sandman, American Gods, and so much more. So grab your tea, light a candle, and let's walk into the shadows together. Neil Gaiman is hard to categorize, and that's kind of the point. He's a British author who writes fantasy, horror, children's books, graphic novels, short stories, and screenplays, often all at once. His work is mythic and grounded, poetic and creepy, modern and ancient. He was born in 1960, got his start as a journalist, and made his breakout with The Sandman, a comic series that redefined the medium. But what makes him Neil Gaiman isn't just what he writes, it's how he writes. At the core of Gaiman's work is myth. Not just retelling myths, though he's done that brilliantly in Norse mythology, but building modern myths for people who don't feel at home in the modern world. Think about American Gods. It's about old gods fighting for relevance in a world ruled by media and technology. But more than that, it's about identity, migration, belief, and the quiet loneliness of being human in a country built on contradictions. In The Sandman, he gives us Dream, a literal god of stories who wrestles with love, responsibility, and change. Gaiman takes things that feel cosmic and makes them intimate. His gods cry, his monsters feel regret. His humans survive, and that's the mythic magic. Not that his stories are huge, but that they remind us that we are huge inside. Gaiman writes for the weird in all of us. Not just people who like strange stories, but people who feel strange. His characters are often outsiders. Coraline, Shadow Moon, Nobody Owens, the kids in the ocean at the end of the lane. They're people trying to make sense of something bigger and scarier than themselves, and yet his stories aren't cynical. They're strange, yes, and often scary, but also full of hope, wonder, and compassion. Gaiman shows us that weirdness isn't something to escape, it's something to honor. He once said, "Fairy tales are more than true, not because they tell us dragons exist, but because they tell us dragons can be beaten." That quote captures everything about why people love Neil Gaiman. His stories are weird, but they remind you that you're not alone in your weirdness. Let's talk about the Gaiman aesthetic. His prose is simple but lyrical. His worlds are full of shadows but never without stars. Recurring themes, here are a few. The liminal, doorways between worlds, the space between childhood and adulthood, the line between real and unreal. Belief, not just religious belief, but belief in stories, in people, in the self. Death, not as horror, but as transformation. Found family, from dream siblings to the Hempstock women, Gaiman loves communities built by love, not blood. Neil Gaiman has shaped pop culture more than most people realize. He helped elevate comics to literary status. He opened the doors for dark fantasy to live in both adult and children's literature. And his work has inspired a generation of storytellers, from novelists to screenwriters to artists. The Sandman alone reshaped how we think about genre fiction. It was philosophical, poetic, queer, violent, beautiful, and years ahead of its time. And through it all, he's remained a champion for libraries, for weird kids, and for writing that dares to be different. In a world that's often loud, cruel, and chaotic, Gaiman's work whispers something quieter, weirder, kinder. It tells you that it's okay not to fit, that it's okay to be scared, to feel alone, to wonder. Because in a Gaiman story, the weird kid doesn't get fixed. They get seen, they get power, they get to be the hero. So if you've ever felt like you don't belong in the world you're in, maybe it's time to find your way to a Gaiman book. You might just find a doorway into another world. And this time you'll know you were meant to be there. Thanks for watching. If you love weird, mythic, magical storytelling as much as I do, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives just like this. And in the comments tell me, what's your favorite Neil Gaiman story? And why does it speak to you? Until next time, stay weird, stay curious, and keep reading.